Hey guys, what's up? I'm Chris, and today we're going to be reviewing a piece of tech that might be right up your street if you use a Mac or an iPad Pro. So what is it? Well, it's this little product that OWC sent over. It's the USB-C Travel Hub E. This bite-sized hub has all the essential ports you'd need while out on the road, or if you're looking to keep your home setup minimalistic, this could be a nice little addition without taking up too much space on your desk. Dotted around this space grey rim, we have two USB 3.2 Type A ports that support up to 5 GHz, a HDMI port for connecting an external monitor, an Ethernet port, SD 4.0 card reader, and the cherry on top, a 100-watt compatible USB-C port. The E in the title of the product promotes that this hub features an Ethernet port, which I think is essential for anyone who needs the fastest possible connection to their home network or is required to jack in at a work office for security reasons. But if you don't need that, they do sell a version without the Ethernet port for a bit cheaper. And speaking of the price, it's actually pretty good value for money. At the time of recording, you can pick this up for £54 on Amazon. When you compare that to a product that I once labelled as the best iPad Pro accessory, the $90 Hyperdrive USB-C hub, you're getting faster charging, an Ethernet jack, and the 4.0 card reader. It's actually compatible with more than just a Mac or an iPad Pro. Any computer, smartphone or tablet with a USB-C port or Thunderbolt 3 or greater can take full advantage of it. There's no need to install any drivers to get this to work. The USB-C cable you connect to your device tucks away nicely in the base, and it's long enough at 5.5 inches to use with a 12.9-inch iPad Pro that's sat up in a folio case. Unfortunately, if you use one of those expensive Magic Keyboard cases, you'll need to let it dangle off the side, but it should be okay because it's not too heavy. I tested this on both my 16-inch MacBook Pro and the 2018 iPad Pro in a docked configuration over several days. With my MacBook Pro, I used it for about 4 to 5 hours an evening, but despite its small size and being hooked up to a 100-watt charger constantly, it remained cool and consistent. The HDMI port can support a 4K 60Hz monitor, but like I've said in the past, I can't personally test this as I use a 1080p 144Hz gaming monitor. But it didn't have any issues connecting to it or using it, so it's got a pass from me. The best feature though, in my opinion, is definitely the SD card reader. That Hyperdrive hub I mentioned earlier, and quite a lot of other USB-C hubs, all use UHS-1 SD card readers. This SD 4.0 reader is blistering fast, and it makes transferring files off my UHS-2 cards to both the iPad and MacBook Pro super fast. Honestly, if you've not used a 4.0 card reader, you're missing out. It's such a time saver. And how about with an iPad? Well, with my 2018 iPad Pro, it made working with a keyboard and mouse a breeze. You still get that annoying letterboxing when you plug in a monitor, but the small size made connecting external drives like this OWC Electron Envoy Pro easy. And when I need to charge, just like my MacBook Pro, I can plug it into power or, additionally, a power bank and start working away without issue. Plus, the size of it makes it so convenient to just throw in your bag. In fact, this may end up living in my camera bag, as I do alternate which devices I take with me when I go to work. But it's not all perfect. I have come across 3 potential issues with the product. The first being the build quality. It's a hard plastic which is lightweight and easy to carry, but could potentially suffer if I accidentally dropped it on a hard surface. The next relates to charging. My MacBook Pro wouldn't play nice with the Zenjaw SuperTank. It supports 100-watt output, but when I plugged it in, it would light up the screen and then dim it as if I had just plugged in my regular charger and pulled it out again. But then, when I switched to the 60-watt port on this, it charges perfectly fine. But then, that's the issue. My MacBook Pro needs a lot more juice than 60 watts, so if I'm doing intensive tasks, the battery will deplete and this won't be able to charge it fast enough. Fortunately though, this isn't an issue on the iPad Pro. And the final issue I have with it is actually something so silly some of you might completely disregard it. It's the logo placement. I don't know about you, but I love my logos to be perfectly the right way. It's kind of like an OCD of mine. So I'd much prefer it on the rim because depending on where you plug this in, it can either be that way, or that way. So I think to alleviate that, just stick it on the rim. Problem solved. And that's your quick look and review of the OWC USB-C Travel Dock E. a really good value USB-C hub which packs 100 watts of charging, and that really useful SD 4.0 card reader. If you'd like to pick one up yourself, I've left some links to both Amazon and OWC's own Mac sales, and I'd like to thank you for watching. If you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing, smashing that thumbs up button, and leaving a comment. Take care.